What's up, guys? It is October 2nd, 2017. Time for Q&A response. Today's thread was on Instagram instead of Facebook. So had some different folks participate this week, which is always good. It's already getting late, though, so it's been a really long day, so we're just going to get right into it. Pick one exercise for each body part you do if you are restrained to one only. Not a typical question, but fits the criteria. Yeah, I think cool question for one. I'd probably start from the bottom up. I'd probably say calves. Anything I could get a good stretch on. Probably do like a toe press on the leg press probably, and then also let's see, going up hamstrings and glutes. I'd probably say RDLs for sure, no doubt about it. For quads, I would probably say leg press, just because I can kind of position the feet the way I want them and hit different, all the different quad heads really easily, and I could still get a lot of heavy load on there. I would probably just say squats for all of it, but it's asking for specifics, so I'm breaking it down. Going up, chest, dumbbell presses. Probably flat dumbbell presses. I don't know. I just feel that just a little bit better. I think I can, although incline's still pretty good. Shoulders. See, delts is a hard one because I always break everything down, between different muscle groups. I would probably actually say if it's just one, I would probably say upright rows with dumbbells. It's not like my favorite exercise, but I can still pull and get the lateral and rear in the same movement. So I would probably say that. Back. Oh, jeez. For back, I probably have to do like a pen lay row or something. That way, I'm bent over. I can obviously get my lower back and rectors into it still, but hit the lats and upper. I can hit the whole shebang that way, and traps and all. And then biceps, probably supinated dumbbell curls, just because I can do so much with the tempos and alternating and the stretch, and it's lots of options there. For triceps, probably a dip machine, some kind of selectorized dip machine would probably be what I would choose. And I think that's it. All right, next one. GDAs, berberine, metformin, timing. Do you recommend pre-meal, 10-20 minutes before, with the meal, or after the meal is eaten to take the chosen GDA? What would you give the best results in your opinion to shuttle nutrients? Okay, so you can pretty much take a GDA right before the meal. It's not really a big deal. You could argue you might want to take it a little bit before the meal, just because you want it to assimilate before the carbs hit, before your blood glucose goes up. However, that gets to be a real pain in the ass if you're hauling supplements around and you're busy and you're trying to time a glucose disposal agent, taking it 20 minutes before the meal, watch clock, eat, and keep a good system that way. It's just a pain. So I just take them with the meal. For someone that might want a little bit more insulin response, you could also use them after the meal. So let your blood glucose go up and let your own insulin kick in a little bit. But splitting hairs there, really. Now, you mentioned berberine and metformin specifically. So with those, the thing is you really don't need to take them with the meal. They could be taken without meals and they're pretty much still going to work. Look at metformin, for example. It doesn't really have an acute blood sugar lowering effect. You're not going to go hypo if you take it. You could pretty much take it morning and night and it wouldn't matter because it acts mainly on the liver. So berberine is also similar in that regard. It's not exactly the same, but the mechanisms are similar. It has similar effects. So GH dosage for a first-time user without insulin, say 100 kilograms. I'm assuming that's the weight of the person. Is it even useful by itself? How long to run? there's still the lipolysis effect that's still going to be there, but as far as like muscle growth goes, not really. It's not really going to do anything on its own in that regard. It might help you burn some fatty acids, possibly stay a little bit leaner, but at the same time, it's also going to cause some insulin resistance too. So that kind of can offset the whole leaning effect or the lipolysis effect to an extent. That just depends on the person and how naturally insulin sensitive they are. And everyone's kind of different in that regard, obviously. So by itself, sure, it's going to have some benefit, but it's not, I wouldn't expect any hypertrophy really from it. So you would want to take it with insulin in that case. Dose wise, I mean, if you're just looking for purely lipolysis, 1 to 2 IUs. If it's quality, I mean, 2 is plenty. During times, where insulin is low. So mornings is good. Maybe pretty much any other time that insulin is baseline, to be honest. And then realize that it's going to take a while for growth hormone levels to peak. It's not just going to happen instantly. That's why the morning dose and like a little extended fasting period is often the preference. Would it be beneficial to inject L-carnitine multiple times a day if you were using something like Lantus in the AM and PM and Humalog pre and post workout? So dosage for a person weighs 190 pounds and 7 to 800 milligram range would be more beneficial to dose 4 microshots and have prolonged blood levels, or is it just splitting hairs? Pretty much. Well, okay. So here's the thing: the idea of dosing L-carnitine injectable with insulin is that there is a larger influx of insulin. So you would have the either a fast acting insulin like Humalog pre-workout shot or whatever it is. That's a common time pre-workout insulin with the carnitine, but you could also just obviously have like a large amount of intra-workout carbs that was going to have similar effect. But the thing is, that's an influx. Lantus isn't really causing an influx. It's more of just your natural. It's going to be much more like your natural output. Granted, it's steady where your natural output isn't necessarily completely linear, but the Lantus isn't really causing a big enough peak to fit the bill with the carnitine. So I would say probably not, just because you're, like I said, if you want that influx of insulin, then the Lantus isn't really going to do it. That's just going to be basically giving your beta cells a break and replacing what your own body's going to be putting out on its own during the day. So now that's not to say that you wouldn't get some absorption from it, just the carnitine doing it like that, but it seems like a gigantic pain in the ass. And you can really fill up intramuscular carnitine stores in less frequent dosings. It's not that, if you dose it now and then don't do it for another 2 hours, it's all going to go away. That's not how it works. It's not going to deplete like that quickly. So I really don't see a need to do it so often. How bioavailable are supplements in their natural state? For example, things like curcumin, turmeric, cinnamon, caffeine are the raw forms in powder as well as the process as equal dosings from pills. Okay, so basically, are they the same thing? I mean, for the most part, yeah, because usually if you're getting a pure, like a supplement in pill form that's just one ingredient, then that's all it is, other than like some rice flour filler or whatever, whatever the company uses to fill it with. But as far as like absorption, sure. I mean, but you mentioned curcumin, which most of us know that curcumin's just not that absorbable on its own. So you need black pepper extract or highly bioavailable form of curcumin on its own. Now, just in general supplements, yeah. I mean, like caffeine in a pill and caffeine in a powder, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, assuming that it's just 100% pure. Cinnamon in a pill and cinnamon 100% cinnamon in a powder, assuming it's real good quality cinnamon, it's going to be the same thing. As long as, the pill's not an extract of something and the powder's the whole form. but it's equal. It's basically just putting it in a capsule and then putting filler in it. That's really all it is. I hope that answers the question. One more, it looks like. How would someone incorporate MK677 and or GH if cancer runs in his family, or better not to touch those agents? So that's an interesting question, because if you, and don't quote me on any specific studies, I haven't really looked into this, and it's been a little while since I've really looked at these studies specifically, but if you look at the risk, the whole GH and cancer scare thing, it's more so once someone already has cancer, and not so much if giving them cancer to begin with. So maybe tumor growth, for example, but it's not causing the tumor. That's that can't even say the word proliferation. I don't even know if I said it right, but anyhow, yeah, it's not so much causing it as it is making it grow more. Now that's like, the thing about that is there's a lot of things that can cause cancer to grow, inflammation just in general, like pretty much everything a bodybuilder does, growing, anabolism, mTOR, muscle protein synthesis, like all of that can contribute. So the thing is, you literally could do nothing, like to be on an anti-cancer diet, and then you could probably still get it. That's not the thing. I mean, it's just the fact that once you catch it, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing, and your diet and stuff's going to change. And or once you catch it, you don't really catch it. If you have it, if you're unfortunate enough to get it, then things are going to change. But as far as it's not really going to cause it, no. So, like I said, I'm not citing any specific study, but if you go back and look at the mechanisms there and the literature on it, that's what you'll find. That's what you should find. Let me see. I think I have all of them. Holy cow! We just did maybe seven questions or so, and I'm at under 15 minutes, so 12 minutes and 35 seconds. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that was a quicker one today. Actually, it was about the same. I just got through it a lot faster. Thank you again for the questions, and I hope I was able to answer everyone's question specifically enough to make it make sense for you guys. I think I did them all pretty well. So if you have any others, let me know. We'll do it again next week.